evil. You want to put bad guys away?
Zootopia 2 pushes the boundaries of the franchise's original message by taking Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde into uncharted, emotional, historical, and political terrain, ultimately setting the stage for an even bigger and bolder sequel. Unlike the first film, which focused on the dangers of stereotypes and fear-based politics, Zootopia 2 is concerned with the power of buried history, who controls it, who benefits from it, and who gets erased because of it. The discovery that Zootopia's grand story is built on a foundational lie becomes the core of this sequel's conflict, and the resolution fundamentally reshapes the city's future. The ending doesn't simply solve a mystery. It exposes a century-old conspiracy that changes everything Judy and Nick believed about their home. And that's before a cryptic post-credits tease drops a feather that hints at an entirely new species rising into the narrative for Zootopia 3.
Stop pulling my ears! Stop pulling my ears! Never pull up on his ears! I have to help my family!
Gary DeSnake's mission reveals the city's oldest lie. At the heart of Zootopia 2 lies a story far deeper than a simple manhunt. The film opens with Judy and Nick investigating a mysterious reptile moving through the city, and what begins as a police pursuit soon escalates into a revelation that challenges the very foundations of Zootopia's creation myth. The city's citizens have always celebrated Ebenezer Lynxley as the genius who engineered the temperature walls that made Zootopia's unique districts possible. His invention supposedly allowed Arctic tundras, tropical rainforests, and scorching desert environments to coexist, giving mammals of every shape and climate an equal place in society. The truth, however, is far darker. Gary DeSnake, the supposed villain of the film, reveals that the original idea and patent for the weather management system were created by his great-grandmother, Agnes, an ingenious reptilian inventor whose contributions were wiped out of history when Ebenezer Lynxley discovered Agnes's breakthrough. He not only stole the idea, but personally ensured that no trace of her ownership remained. He attempted to destroy the patent, erased Agnes's name from the records, and framed her for murder by killing his own tortoise maid. Agnes fled, and Lynxley's fabricated narrative became the official truth. What makes this revelation powerful is how it reframes Zootopia itself, not as a utopian coexistence of species, but as a system built on the exploitation and silencing of one entire class of animals. The injustice spreads beyond reputation. Agnes's demonization leads to widespread reptile prejudice. Their district is dismantled, annexed, and absorbed into Lynxley-controlled Tundra Town, and reptiles are forced into hiding or exile. The film turns this forgotten chapter into a symbolic commentary on colonial land theft and generational power structures that benefit one group at the expense of another. Zootopia's citizens didn't just accept a lie, they built their identity around it, never questioning the comfort it offered. Gary's motivation is never rooted in revenge, but in vindication. By finding the original patent, he wants to restore his family's honor and reopen Zootopia to reptiles. The deeper truth is less about correcting history and more about revealing how systemic injustice stays alive, not through active hatred, but by passive acceptance. Judy and Nick's involvement marks a shift in their own belief systems. They've always fought prejudice, but this time they confront the chilling realization that they were complicit in ignoring an entire species' suffering simply because the city's story never included them.
Set foot in Zootopia in forever.
Hopps and Wilde?
Wilde and Hopps. The dream?
Pawbert Lynxley, the face of complicit villainy. If Gary represents the responsibility of uncovering truth, Pawbert represents what happens when someone chooses comfort over justice. Introduced initially as an awkward, clumsy, and overly accommodating heir to the Lynxley family legacy, Pawbert appears sympathetic, almost harmless. He helps Judy and Gary escape the Lynxley mansion, laughs nervously, and acts like someone embarrassed by his family's monstrous past. Audiences are encouraged to trust him, and Judy does exactly that. This is where Zootopia 2 sharpens its thematic blade. Pawbert is not Bellwether, the cold mastermind of the first film. He is far more insidious because he isn't evil by design. He's desperate by choice. His betrayal is not motivated by ideology or hatred, but by a pathetic yearning for acceptance. Pawbert doesn't destroy the patent because he believes reptiles are dangerous. He does it because he wants to prove his worth to a family who never respected him. He poisons Judy, not because he enjoys hurting her, but because he wants the Lynxleys to finally acknowledge him. He even leaves Gary to die, yet apologizes because he wants Gary to understand it's nothing personal, it's just survival. That contradiction makes Pawbert terrifying. He's the embodiment of every individual who chooses to ignore injustice for personal benefit. He represents the coworker who stays silent during corruption, the citizen who votes for stability rather than fairness, the heir who protects privilege instead of correcting history. Judy's confrontation with Pawbert is one of the most emotionally charged moments in the film, not because she faces a mastermind, but because she faces someone who could have been her. Like Judy, Pawbert was underestimated, overlooked, and desperate to matter. Judy chose courage. Pawbert chose comfort. Zootopia 2 highlights that prejudice doesn't survive because villains enforce it. It survives because ordinary people justify it. Pawbert becomes the film's most devastating commentary on modern politics, a reminder that systems don't collapse due to evil. They collapse because good people refuse to challenge them.
My family will finally be able to come home.
The ending, reclaiming a lost community. Once the truth finally surfaces, the city is forced to confront a legacy of discrimination. The recovered patent becomes undeniable proof that reptiles were foundational architects of Zootopia, not outsiders. With the Lynxley family exposed, the city's leadership apologizes and opens the gates for reptiles to return. The emotional punch lands not through spectacle, but through silence. A moment where reptiles step into the city, not as invaders, but as citizens, reclaiming stolen history. Nick and Judy's role in the ending isn't to save reptiles, it's to acknowledge that they never should have needed saving in the first place. Zootopia 2 ends not with celebration, but with accountability. Judy grapples with the realization that she fought against prejudice in the first film, while unknowingly benefiting from another kind of systemic injustice. Nick, once a victim of bias, now sees how quickly he accepted another group's exclusion. Their growth is subtle, mature, and necessary, setting the stage for new political dynamics, new cultural tensions, and perhaps a new Zootopia built not on shared space, but on shared truth.
Fine. Better than fine. And we did sort of save the city.
The post-credits scene, a feather that changes everything. Just when the story seems complete, Zootopia 2 delivers a deceptively quiet post-credits tease that may redefine the franchise's future. Judy stands at her apartment window, reflecting on everything she has accomplished, only for a single feather to drift down onto her windowsill. This isn't a random detail. Throughout 2 entire films, audiences have seen mammals and now reptiles, but never birds. No feathers, no nests, no avian districts, no mention of their existence. The arrival of that feather is no accident. It signals a possibility. Birds have been watching, waiting, or hiding all along. Why were they absent? Were they exiled like reptiles? Do they live in a floating city or sky-based districts inaccessible to mammals? Are they angry about reptiles being reaccepted, fearing the balance of power shifting once again? Or are they preparing to recruit Judy, the one officer who has already dismantled 2 conspiracies? One feather opens the door to hundreds of questions, all pointing toward Zootopia 3, exploring airborne societies, predator-prey politics among species capable of vertical movement, and perhaps a new hierarchy where mammals aren't at the top anymore. The reptile arc was about land and history. The bird arc may be about territory, sovereignty, migration, and freedom, the ultimate societal metaphor.
Everyone will see reptiles ain't that different.
The Loose Criminals, seeds for sequels and spin-offs. Before credits roll, one more moment sets future storylines in motion. During the chase through the ZPD, Nick accidentally opens every holding cell, releasing hundreds of criminals. The joke lands when Judy and Nick easily recapture Bellwether, but she's just one of many escapees now roaming the city. This isn't throwaway humor, it's a structural gift. Disney now has an excuse for future episodic adventures, shorts, or even a Disney Plus series where Nick and Judy hunt down escaped criminals, each one potentially tied to new species, districts, or conspiracies. Zootopia 3 now has built-in narrative scaffolding, a city filled with unfinished business.
Hopps and Wilde.
Wilde and Hopps. The dream team.
Our nerdy thoughts. Zootopia 2 doesn't just continue the franchise, it evolves it. It understands that prejudice doesn't disappear when acknowledged, it mutates, hides, and resurfaces in new forms. The sequel challenges audiences to confront uncomfortable truths about history, complicity, and who gets to be remembered. The ending rewrites Zootopia's identity. The post-credit scene expands the world vertically, and Judy and Nick now stand at a crossroads, not just as police officers, but as guardians of truth in a city far more complex than they ever imagined. If reptiles represented a forgotten past, birds may represent an uncertain future, and Zootopia 3 could be the moment the city finally learns that equality is not a destination, but a continuous fight.
Maybe everyone will see reptiles ain't that different.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.